this moving. It's Young People Nation.
Welcome to Young People Nation. Listen to us weekly as we commit to bring transparency, healing, and truth to the everyday situations in life that might bring you down. Join us for your weekly dose of inspiration. Thank you for listening to Young People Nation. Make sure you subscribe so you never miss an episode. And now, here's your host, Eugene and Donna Perry.
Let's go. Christ is the foundation. Know his word gon' lead us. Know I'm already going. Taking steps I believe in. Giving guidance to the youth. Giving guidance to the lost. Giving the world to the project. Lead them back to the cross.
Hi, Mr. Perry. Welcome.
Hey, what's up?
2025, Young People Nation.
Woo, where did time go?
Yes, we're headed to year 3 in this journey. And we are so grateful. It went fast.
Yes, it did.
And again, we are starting out this year with us. We'd like to thank God, thank our sponsors, our supporters, Get Up Production,
Yes.
Rocky Premier.
Woo!
These are people behind the scenes that are helping make this happen.
Yes.
Thank you all so much for your patience, your availability, and just being genuine. Thank you so, so much. And so my husband and I was thinking about, something we could talk about. And in the first session, we talked about parenting without instructions. And my husband's very passionate about men taking care of their families.
Oh, yeah.
And that's I'm gonna say this, that goes a long way with your children. So thank you, first of all, for being a very present husband, father. You've done it. You've done it. And so we're very grateful. Now you're a present granddad.
Yep.
And
Just send me that check. I'll be good to go. Yes, sir.
So you came up this Western that we watched 1,000 times, The Good, the Bad, and the Ugly, right?
Yeah.
That's a classic.
Yes, it is.
And so we talked about that being in parenting.
Yeah, the ugly part. Yeah.
No, can we start with the good?
Well, the good part of the whole part is you won't have desire to make a life with your wife and to go forth. And that's the good part. And then you want to have kids because you want leave a inheritance behind. And little mini-me's run around to uphold everything you've done. And that's quite natural. Mm-hmm. That's the good part.
And you made mention of great expectations.
Yes.
And we talked about grandparenting with boundaries because we have to understand this is our grandchild.
Grandparents rule.
But we are not the parents, so we have to respect the boundaries of the parents. And like you stated, making a new future.
Yes.
Sometimes I want to say that girls were raised to be mothers, wives and mothers, because of the baby dolls, the playhouses and things like that. However, when you do connect with the person you make a decision to connect with, you recognize that is not how that's going to work.
Well, that's the problem right there. Most men aren't raised to be fathers. And they go out by the seat of their pants or what they see on TV and go forth. Men aren't taught to stay in a marriage.
Wait a minute, back up. That you can't just hit and roll with that.
Okay, men aren't taught as a whole. You got young girls. They play with their baby dolls. They are centered on family structure. Men are centered on conquest. They're centered on business. They're centered on sports. But no one really sit down and teach them how to be a dad.
You say no one or some don't?
Only to a certain extent because
I've seen some
they don't know neither. They really don't know neither. They don't go to their extent. They hit and miss off experience.
Okay.
But if you can go back to their childhood, they just come home one day, I'm married. That's it. And then they go for it. And all the secrets, all the insecurities are hidden. Silent frustrations. That's why you have a man go out and take out the garbage and never come back. And with that, no, I know my dad. He gave me a one-line instruction about women, and that was it. Everything else, not raised with no sisters and nothing like that. I didn't have a clue. And I remember the first day I saw you cry. I said, I done broke my wife. She crying. How do I fix this and all like that? I had no idea. And in that you fly by the seat of your pants. Fathers need to have those talks with their sons as young as 7 and 8. As young as 7 and 8, like the girls do with their mothers, to learn about life, to learn about how to be and get your life together so you'll be a good father. Because you have young men right now, 40 years old, if you don't call it young, 40 years old.
It is.
Staying in their mother's house, asking their mom what's for lunch and what's for dinner. Can't hold a job. Can't focus on keeping money. They know how to go to the club. They know how to go out with the guys and do stuff, but they are not marrying material. They'll run around here and have 6 or 7, 8 kids and don't have a home and not married to the young woman. And there's no honor in that. And I'm not pulling you out. I'm not dragging you down or talking bad about you to a certain extent. But the thing is about it, the buck stops here. You have to stop this lawlessness and free life that you are out here making all these kids and not raising them.
And that right there, just talking with some of the young people we have spoken with, the absence of the father. We've heard that often with the young people we have been graced to talk with, that father, he's not present, or some can be in the home, okay, and however he's working all the time and he's trying to provide. However, there's
that's the key. Provide for who?
Oh,
provide for who? Are you providing for your family, or you're providing for all those kids you got out there? And then you get frustrated to the point where you stop working because you have so many kids you can't keep up. And therefore the courts get involved and you wind up going to jail, but you still have those kids out there. Like for instance, you see on these on the draft and all, these kids go up there and they made the draft. They get ready to go to a pro team. And then all of a sudden this father show up. I'm his dad. Okay, you wasn't there the whole time he was growing up. But you there when he's getting ready to get this notoriety, to get those accolades, the money, the prestige. You show up out of nowhere. All the other time, the moms were there raising them, changing the diapers and putting them through school, and you were nowhere in sight.
Let me ask you this, because again, we're very transparent.
Right.
I remember as me being an athlete, my father didn't understand about me playing sports because out of 3 girls, I was the only one that was the athlete.
Right.
However, my mom was very present at every basketball game. And so now my dad came on deck later, okay? But I remember when I brought home the trophy, to your point, what you're sharing, I wasn't at a draft, but my dad was like, look at what my daughter won. My mom was like, bring that trophy back in here. Bring it back in here. And so then, but my father began to see the importance of his presence at my games. And it is very gratifying. You look up in the stands, you hear your mama, you see your dad face, that is amazing. And so for the the child that may not be an athlete. Just like, when our daughters was trying to figure out when Amber was a cheerleader, first you was like, oh, what is this? But you know what? You start showing up. You showed up there at the games where she was cheering. And so it's nothing like a parent. You don't know what that's mental stimulation for your children, for you to be present in what they're doing, and it's like it gives you an extra boost. Like, I can do this because my parents are there. And I remember when Nina was running track, and you would come in your uniform and show up. You may be running a little bit behind, but you would show up. You would take your Saturdays, and you was rushing. Donna, we got to go because she got to go to the track. She got this track meet. We got to go. We got to go. And so we're talking about the good, the bad, and the ugly of parenting. So therefore, it is important to show up when it comes to your children. And so for my husband, again, you hear him, he keeps talking about the fathers. However, it is dual responsibility. Okay? It is dual responsibilities. Young ladies, if you're not ready to take on, and I hear our oldest daughter say this often, if you're not ready to be able to provide everything that child needs, then you don't need to have children. Okay.
Well, it's even more than that.
Hold on.
It's even more than that.
Hold on.
Well, I'm gonna say this right.
Okay.
I'm gonna say this right here.
Okay.
Right here. A lot of young ladies make the mistake of having kids with this guy, and he's not there to help raise the kid. Having a child is not going to keep that man in that house.
But can I say this right here? How about, because we're getting a little away from our thing.
That rabbit hole is deep.
Yeah, that rabbit hole is deep. But but let me say this: you can marry a person with great intentions, and they're deceptive in their deliverance, because in the dating process, they're saying, yeah, I want to get married and have children, when in all actuality, they really do not. They have a different motive. And so therefore, that's a thing too. But let's hold that for another podcast, okay? Because we're kind of limited on our time. But that right there, you can marry a person, and that goes into the marriage part of marrying a person, and you think you know them, but you don't know them, and you don't really know the person. But let's get back to what we're supposed to be talking about: the good and the bad, the ugly of parenting. And so the bad, sometimes you can give it your all, and the child decides to totally do something else. And we went through that process. You understand that your children, they're trying to figure out life. I'm very grateful that I heard in my prayer time about both of our daughters, that they was going to do very well. I had to hold on to that right there, regardless of what I was looking at with my natural eye. I had to hold on to what I heard about both of our children. So the anxiety, the depression, the oppression that can come out of a parent watching their children just kind of destructive behavior, or getting with the wrong person, or not following the instructions of the home.
The standard of the home, I'll put it that way. Not instruction.
Well, standard and instruction. The standard, you have to give a form of instruction.
Not really. If the standard is the example that we led, coming home, being productive, helping out with the kids with the homework, and being there for the whole family and not yourself. That is a decision.
That's a standard.
That's a decision that you made for that standard.
Okay.
Now instructions is like, we don't do this because you have a written set of instructions. But a standard is something that's a lot of times not written, but you uphold it.
And that goes with the bad. Sometimes you see the living and moving in the wrong direction. You're sitting there. It's like a movie that you're sitting up there watching as a parent. That your child, you're like, why are you going that direction? And that's not good. But for me, I can't speak for other parents, but that's where my prayer life has came in. Okay, that some things become out of your natural control. Okay, that so you really have to trust God to intervene in these situations.
Well, God has to be a entity that you believe in. If you do not believe that God exists, you do not believe that God is part of your life, you can pray all you want, it's not going to work. You got to have faith in that God exists.
Yes.
And therefore, you have to have a personal relationship with God. That the man up front preaching and all that has nothing to do with your personal faith.
Yes.
And if you watch others, because there's a lot of corrupt people out there, and have done questionable things and conduct themselves questionably in the name of Christ. And if you have to have your own personal relationship. That's the key.
Yes.
Not their example, but your example.
That's right.
With Christ, because you as a man is the head of the family and the example of Christ for the family.
Yes.
So you set the standard.
Can I ask you this right here, because we're getting on kind of low on our time. Okay, we talked about and thank you so much for being the example. I used to hate to come to Bible study with you on Fridays, but I'm grateful now. I used to be like, oh my God, me and the girls be rolling our eyes. You'd be like, come on, we can have Bible study. But I am so grateful. Thank you for leading by example. But I want to hit a couple of nuggets before we end. You made mention in our conversation about, parents living through their children.
Yes.
That can be the bad and the ugly.
Especially men.
And using your using your parents as role models. So can we hit those real fast? Because again, we're limited on our time.
My parents was role models.
Using your parents, just like our daughters came back to us from their marriage, you set a serious standard of how a man is supposed to be in a marriage. And both our daughters came back and said they had to realize that the men that, we have one that's a widow and one that's divorced, that their spouse was not you, because they was looking for you in them. Okay. And so, and they were trying to exemplify me, but they stated they had to understand, they had to create your own, of who that person is.
Well, that's what Genesis 2:24 come in at. Once you cloven to your wife, y'all set the standards. Y'all set the unique way you can conduct yourself. It's not the examples that the parents you had or the parents you were raised by. You set your standard for your particular household because everybody wasn't raised and have a table to eat at or have two parents in the house. So once you get into your wife, y'all set your own standards, the way you conduct the business and how you were raised and stuff. As you were coming up, you throw out the bad and you keep the good.
What about sometimes parents living through their children? The mental stress of that for the child.
That is, I'm a doctor, you're gonna be a doctor. I'm a nurse, you're gonna be a nurse. Your kids, as they grow up and they reach maturity, they know what they lack.
Yes.
They know what they like, whether you agree to it or not, and you had to be comfortable with it. If it's not for them, they will find their way out.
I remember when Rick Pena, who has Rick Pena Ministry, how he was pushing for his older son to be
Powerful
in the military.
Man of God.
Pushing for his son to be in the military. He said, but this young man is an amazing chef.
Yes.
And he said how God dealt with him, that's not what I told him to do. I didn't tell him to go in the military like you.
Well, most men want them to be the common copy of them and do better and go higher than them. But their kids are talented in a different area.
Yes.
Like I can't sing a lick. And in many cases, God has blessed a child to have a wonderful voice, and they go and record music. And you have no music talent whatsoever. That's how life is. Whatever area your child is gifted in, they need your support.
Yes, celebrate.
They need your support. As long as it's nothing that's killing people or going forth and being destructive, you should support them.
Yes, and this last one, the spirit of the empty nesters and learning to let go.
Let me tell you, you can be so dedicated to your kids that after they grown and gone on to their life and be productive, and you look over there and say, who that's sitting over there? And the little voice said, that's your wife. Oh, okay. So you have to know your spouse all over again, or you'll fall under that invisible rule. Okay, it's time to get a divorce now because we don't know each other. We can't stand each other. I don't even know you anymore, But this woman has gone out. She used to going to the soccer games. She used to taking kids to the doctor and all like that. And you used to working hard and bringing money home and supporting the kids. And now that the kids gone, you look over there, I don't even know you anymore. And so y'all had to go on dates and start over.
I'm grateful for us. Even with our girls being younger, we did take time out for one another.
Yes.
In our busy schedules. And so we've been empty nesters for a while. And so, I love how we have always remained friends. And so
I know for you going from one of the things that with me, I was so dedicated to having the kids and all, and we was on the on the ship on the cruise, and I said we should call the kids and check on them. My wife looked at me, what's wrong with you?
I like, these girls are going on about their business, honey, okay?
Yeah.
But and that's, you have to learn when to let go, parents, okay?
That's hard.
Yeah, you have to learn when to let go.
It is hard.
But once God give you that peace, I got them. I'm the same God that have had them the entire time. So I need you to get out of my way.
But that was the one we did on boundaries, and I flunked that one. I'm not ashamed of it because I was sitting in that parking lot seeing what my daughter was doing in her apartment. I was sitting out in that parking lot checking out the scene and seeing who come and goes and all like that. Whether or not I had to make my presence known. Yes, I was that dad sitting over there in the corner. Yep.
But thank God that he learned to let go.
Yeah, we all survived that.
And so, okay, well, we're ending this on the good, the bad, and the ugly. We've talked about different variances when it comes to parenting and having children. But what I would like to tell to parents, just do the best that you know how. Get wisdom. Go get counseling. Go get instructions. We had a community when we first started out, even though we both grew up in two-parent households, but still that you have to build what works for your household. Also, again, if you need help, please go get help. Sometimes what we've discovered, even in our own journey, that there's some things that may have happened in the past that was put on a shelf that, yes, our faith is very strong in God. However, God directed us to go get professional counseling, which has been very amazing for both of us. So just feel free to be free to do it the way God tells you to do it. So again, we never know who's listening to the podcast. And we always like to give out the references for help to get help. There's a 988 hotline. There's a text 74741. That's free 24/7. There's the NAMI. That's the National Alliance on Mental Illness. Also, there's the National Suicide Prevention Lifeline. And that number is 800-273-8255. Again, that number is 800-273-8255. And I want to share this, that please be aware of the bullying in the community, in the schools. If you see this, please call it out and do not allow it to keep happening, because children are at the very end. Sometimes I just talked with a parent that her 13-year-old daughter was about to commit suicide, had wrote it out. But thank God the grandmother found that, and now she's able to get the help she needs. So please be aware of this community, okay? Mr. Perry.
As we go through life, remember this, if you don't remember nothing else. The smiling face often have the most problems. This has been Young People in the Nation. And remember, there's always hope.
There's always hope.
Let's go. Christ is the foundation. Know his word gon' lead us. Know I'm already going. Taking steps I believe in. Giving guidance to the youth. Giving guidance to the lost. Give the world to the project. Lead them back to the cross. He the #1 prospect. He the top boss. I was broke, I was empty. He the one that paid the cost. Really thought that I was cool. There was nothing like the Savior. Now it's time for the truth. The whole world been waiting. It's Young People Nation. 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 The whole world been waiting. Whatever you going through, I know what he gonna do. Don't matter the circumstance, we going back to the root. Keep going, keep going. Let that seed keep growing. You need peace and we know it. Now it's time to live holy. Young People Nation. You know what time it is. Young People Nation. Get ready, the time is here. Get ready, we vibing here. We about to let God in here. Young People Nation. It's Young People Nation. Yeah, do it for the heavens, you know where we going. Influenced by his love, you know we gotta show it. It's time to put the youth on to what God is doing. Cause I can tell you now, right now, that God is moving. It's Young People Nation.